"We don't have the money, Princess," the single father cried in the bakery. The millionaire behind them did something no one expected. Matthew's fingers trembled as he opened his wallet. $8. The cake cost $35. "Dad." Lily pressed her nose against the glass display. "That one, the one with the strawberries." Matthew closed his eyes. The air stuck in his throat like ground glass. "Princess," he said, "you told me I could pick whichever one I wanted." Lily's voice overflowed with that pure joy only kids have before they know disappointment. "For my birthday." He knelt beside her. The cold bakery floor pierced through his worn pants. "We don't have the money, Princess." The words tore his throat as they came out. Lily turned to look at him. Her brown eyes, identical to Ellen's, filled with confusion first, then understanding, and worst of all, acceptance. "Not even a small one?" Matthew shook his head. He didn't trust his voice. "It's okay, Daddy." Lily took his hand with her tiny fingers. "We can have cake next year." Something broke inside him, something already cracked since the night Ellen stopped breathing. With Lily in the nurse's arms, something he'd held together for 4 years with sheer pride and determination. "I'm so sorry." The words came out broken. "Daddy's so sorry." Behind them, someone inhaled sharply. Matthew didn't even turn. Shame burned his neck, his ears, his whole chest. There were other customers, people who could afford $35 for a cake without shaking. "Excuse me." The voice was feminine, polished, the kind that never had to beg for anything. Matthew stood slowly, keeping Lily behind him by instinct. The woman was everything he wasn't. A grey pantsuit that probably cost more than 3 months of his salary. Hair perfectly pulled into a bun, impeccable makeup even though it was already 6 p.m., and eyes so tired that Matthew almost forgot his own shame. "I'll take that cake." She pointed to the strawberry one. "And whatever else the little one wants." "No." The word came out stronger than intended. "Thanks, but no." She blinked, surprised. Lily peeked around to face her. "Pick 2 more treats. Whatever you want." "Ma'am, really, it's not necessary 2 treats, Lily." Now the girl looked between them, confused but hopeful, and pointed to 2 chocolate eclairs in the lower display. "Those." The woman already had her black card in hand. Matthew didn't even know black cards existed outside movies. "Package it all, please," she told the clerk, who watched open-mouthed. "Ma'am, I can't accept." "Then don't accept it." Her words sounded sharp, almost angry. "Consider it a gift for her, not you." The clerk started boxing the big cake in a special container, the eclairs in a white bag with gold ribbons. Matthew clenched his fists. Humiliation burned like acid. "I'll pay you back however you want. Every cent." She swiped her card without looking at him. "Happy birthday, little one." Lily hugged her legs without warning. "Thank you, fairy godmother." For the first time, the woman smiled. It was a small smile, frayed at the edges but real. "You're welcome, Princess." The clerk handed the box to Matthew. It weighed more than his pride, more than his shame, more than everything he couldn't give his daughter. "Let's go, Lily." "Bye, fairy godmother." Outside, the December evening was cold. Christmas lights were already glowing on the streets of New York City. Matthew walked 3 blocks before he could breathe again. He stopped at a corner, hugging the box to his chest. Lily skipped beside him, singing something about fairies and cakes. He opened his phone with shaky hands, searched Blue Bakery, New York, and found interior photos, zoomed in on one showing the clerk behind the counter. He typed a message. "The woman who paid for the cake just now, do you know her? I need to pay her back." The reply came in seconds. "Miss Sanders is a regular customer. Can't give personal info. Sorry, Sanders." Matthew searched Sanders, New York online. Thousands of results. But the first one stopped him cold. Caroline Sanders, CEO of Sanders Group, opens new housing project in Queens. The photo showed the same woman standing in front of a modern building, smiling for the camera with that same frayed smile. CEO, millionaire, untouchable. "Daddy, why are you crying?" He wiped his eyes quickly. "I'm not crying, Princess. It's the wind." But they both knew it was a lie. That night, after tucking Lily in, Matthew stared at the cake box in his tiny kitchen, $35 plus the eclairs, probably $40 total. He pulled out the envelope where he kept his savings. $8 in crumpled bills. It would take months, maybe a year, but he'd pay back every damn cent because Matthew Flores didn't accept charity, not even from millionaire fairy godmothers with eyes as sad as his own. 3 miles away, in a penthouse in Manhattan, Caroline Sanders poured her third glass of wine. Her phone wouldn't stop ringing. Sebastian, her mother, Ralph again. She ignored it all. In her mind, she kept seeing the man kneeling, whispering to his daughter in a broken voice, "We don't have the money, princess." And the way the girl accepted it, no tantrum, no tears, just, "It's okay, Daddy." How many times had they told that little one no for her to accept disappointment with such grace? Caroline closed her eyes. Tomorrow she had a board meeting at 8, forced family dinner at 7. Ralph would probably show up with flowers and apologies that meant nothing, everything perfectly planned, everything perfectly empty. She opened her eyes and looked at her reflection in the window. Flawless makeup, perfect hair, perfect life, so perfect she couldn't remember the last time someone hugged her without wanting something in return. "Thank you, fairy godmother." The girl's voice echoed in her memory. Caroline took another sip of wine and knew she wouldn't be able to forget those brown eyes full of gratitude, nor the father's, full of shame and broken pride, nor the way her own chest had felt less empty for exactly 30 seconds. Chapter 2. Debts and Decisions. Caroline's mother adjusted her pearl necklace without even looking her in the eyes. "That dress makes you look older. Don't you have something more flattering?" Christmas Eve, December 24. And already 3 criticisms in the first 5 minutes. "The dress is fine, Mum," Caroline said. "If you say so." Her mother walked away to supervise the caterers, leaving a trail of expensive perfume and disapproval. The Sanders mansion gleamed with holiday decorations that cost more than an average car, white and gold lights, a 13-foot tree imported from Canada, French champagne flowing like water, and Caroline had never felt more alone in her life. Favorite cousin. Sebastian appeared at her side with 2 glasses. "You look like you need this. I need 5 of these. Bad night, bad life." He laughed, but his eyes showed concern. "Still thinking about rejecting the merger with Dominguez Construction?" "Not the time, Sebastian. It's exactly the time. Mom's pushing, the board's pushing, and Ralph." "No." Caroline set her glass down too hard. "We're not talking about Ralph on Christmas Eve. He's here." Her stomach sank. "What?" Mum invited him. "He's on the terrace." Of course she did. Of course. Caroline walked to the terrace before Sebastian could stop her. The cold December air hit her face like a slap. Ralph was leaning on the railing, looking at the lights of New York, as handsome as ever, as fake as ever. "Caroline." He turned with that smile that used to melt her. "Merry Christmas." "What are you doing here?" "Your mum invited me. I wanted to see you. You should leave. It's been 2 years. How much longer are you going to punish me?" Her laugh came out harsh. "Punish you? Ralph, you left me. I made a mistake. You left because you couldn't handle my obsession with control, because you wanted to turn me into a trophy." That was true. Ralph never knew about the fertility issues. They never got that far. He'd left when she refused to quit her career to focus on family, in his words. "I've changed. You haven't." Caroline stepped back. "And even if you had, I've changed too. I'm not the woman who tolerated your need to control every aspect of my life. The merger would be good for both families." There it was, the truth behind the smile. "Leave, Ralph, and tell my mom to stop using Christmas for her business maneuvers." Inside, dinner passed in superficial conversations and fake smiles. Cousins talking investments, uncles debating politics, her mom asking every single woman when she planned to get married. Caroline escaped to the bathroom at 10, locked herself in, and pulled out her phone. Instagram greeted her with photos of friends hugging their kids. Facebook showed happy families by modest Christmas trees, full of love. Something tightened in her chest. 2 years ago, the doctor had said, polycystic ovary syndrome. It's not impossible to get pregnant, but it'll be hard, very hard. Ralph never knew. He'd already left by then, frustrated she didn't fit his perfect mold of a submissive wife. But Caroline knew, and every baby photo was a reminder of something she'd probably never have. She wiped her tears before they ruined her makeup, returned to the party, smiled, toasted, pretended. At midnight, as everyone hugged and wished Merry Christmas, Caroline was already in her room, staring at the ceiling, wondering when exactly her life had become so empty. She couldn't stop thinking about the girl in the bakery, her spontaneous hug, her pure joy. "Thank you, fairy godmother." She closed her eyes and, for the first time in years, wished she was someone else. Matthew woke to Lily bouncing on his bed. "Daddy, it's my birthday. I'm 4. December 25, the day he gained Lily and lost Ellen. He hugged her tight, breathing in her strawberry shampoo scent. "Happy birthday, princess. We'll eat the cake after breakfast, and after Aunt Lucy and the neighbors arrive." His 2-bedroom apartment in Brooklyn wasn't a mansion, but that morning it filled with love. Lucy arrived at 11 with fresh empanadas but swapped for apple pies to add an American twist and a furrowed brow. "How'd you get that cake?" she whispered, while Lily played with the box's bow. "A woman paid for it at the bakery. Some stranger." Matthew avoided her gaze. "I'm paying her back." "Matthew, no, Lucy, I'm not discussing this. I don't accept charity." His sister sighed but didn't push. At 1, the neighbors arrived, Mr. Stevens and his wife with balloons. Mrs. Campos made jello. The Munoz teen hooked up his speaker and played kids' music. It was chaotic, noisy, perfect. Lily blew out her 4 candles with eyes closed, making a wish she wouldn't share. The cake was as delicious as it looked. 3 milks perfection, fresh strawberries, smooth cream. Matthew ate his slice and felt shame with every bite. That night, after tucking Lily in amid her modest gifts, he sat with his old laptop. Caroline Sanders, CEO. Through hundreds of results, Sanders Group, real estate developments, social housing projects, 34 years old. Single, heir to a fortune Matthew couldn't comprehend, and those tired eyes that didn't match any professional photo. He found the main office address, Sanders Tower, 15th floor, counted his crumpled bills. $8 was a start. He wrote a note on paper. "First payment, I pay my debts, Matthew Flores." Slipped it into an envelope with the money. Lucy was right, it was impossible to repay someone like that. She'd probably forgotten the incident already, but he couldn't forget. Couldn't forget his daughter had to give up her birthday cake because her dad was a failure. Couldn't forget a stranger had to step in to give Lily what he couldn't. And he definitely couldn't forget those sad eyes that looked at him like she understood exactly what it felt like to be broken inside. December 26. Caroline arrived at the office at 7 a.m., grateful to escape the family mansion. Her assistant, Daniela, showed up at 9 with coffee and a strange expression. "This came for you. A man left it at reception this morning." She handed over a wrinkled white envelope. Caroline opened it. $8 in worn bills fell onto her desk, along with a handwritten note in tight script. "First payment, I pay my debts, Matthew Flores." She stared at the money like it was a grenade. "Miss Sanders, are you okay?" "Yes." Her voice sounded strange even to her. "The man who left it, what did he look like?" "Tall, 30s-ish, work clothes." "Looked nervous." "Asked for you, but I said he needed an appointment." Matthew Flores. The man from the bakery. He'd figured out who she was. He'd come all the way to her corporate tower. He'd left $8 he probably couldn't afford to lose. First payment. Caroline felt something stir in her chest, something dormant for years. She tucked the money and note into her bag. "Daniela, I need you to look into something for me." "Yes, ma'am." "Find a Matthew Flores, probably works in Brooklyn or nearby, has a 4-year-old daughter." Daniela jotted it down without questions. Caroline leaned back in her chair, gazing at the city through the window. A man who'd rather go into debt than accept help. A father who'd clearly put his daughter before his pride, but whose pride was all he had left. She smiled for the second time in 3 days and started planning something completely irrational. Chapter 3. The Garage. Caroline parked her BMW in front of the garage and knew immediately she was making a mistake. The sign said Rojas Auto Repair in peeling paint. There were 3 disassembled cars in the yard, and Matthew Flores was under one, only his legs visible. She got out, her heels clicking against the concrete. The legs stopped. Then a tool rolled out, and Matthew emerged from under the vehicle. Grease on his cheek, shirt stained, staring at her like she was a ghost. "Miss Sanders, we need to talk." He stood slowly, wiping his hands on a rag that only smeared more. "About what?" Caroline pulled the envelope from her bag and showed it. "About this. You can't pay me back." "I can, and I will." The determination in his voice disarmed her completely. "It's $8. The cake was $40 with the eclairs. then 5 more payments. And then what? You'll go without eating to pay me for a cake? That's not your problem. It becomes my problem when I know your daughter needs that money more than I do. Matthew stepped forward. There was something dangerous in his eyes. You don't know anything about my daughter or me. I know you have too much pride for your own good, and you have too much money to understand what pride means. The hit landed direct. Caroline felt the sting. I was wrong. She raised her hands. I thought I was doing something good. Clearly, I was wrong. She turned to leave, rage burning her throat. Wait. She stopped but didn't turn. I'm sorry. Matthew's voice softened. That was out of line. You didn't deserve it. Caroline turned. I don't understand. I have no idea what it's like not to be able to give someone you love what they need. Something shifted in his expression. So, give me the money back. I can't. Why not? Because when she'd seen him kneeling by his daughter, something in her empty chest had awakened. Because she'd spent 2 days unable to stop thinking about them. Because that wrinkled envelope had made her feel something real for the first time in years. Because it was a gift, she said instead, and gifts aren't returned. Then I can't accept it. They were at an impasse. Caroline could see it in the way Matthew clenched his jaw. Stubborn, proud, impossible. An idea crossed her mind, absurd, perfect. Fine. She pointed to her BMW. My car's been making a strange noise. Check it out. Charge me your normal rate, and we'll call the cake in advance. It was a blatant lie. Her car was perfectly fine. Matthew eyed her suspiciously. What kind of noise? A hum, when I accelerate like a buzz. Or a whistle. I'm not sure. Caroline was surprised at how bad a liar she was. You can check it or not. Matthew walked around the BMW, clearly looking for any sign of trouble. When did the noise start? A few days ago. And you didn't take it to the dealer? I prefer small shops, more personal. That at least was true. Well, it was true now. Matthew crossed his arms. You know your car's perfect, right? Are you going to check it? Or keep questioning me? A flash of amusement crossed his face, barely noticeable. But there. My rate's $20 an hour for diagnostics. Perfect. Probably take at least 2 hours too. Perfect. Caroline pulled out her wallet. Do you take transfer? Cash. Then I'll come back with cash. Matthew opened his mouth to protest, but a child's shout interrupted. Daddy! Lily came running from a back door. She skidded to a stop seeing Caroline, fairy godmother, and before anyone could react, she launched into hugging Caroline's legs. The impact nearly knocked her over. Caroline steadied herself, looking down at the girl with messy hair and a huge smile. Hi, Lily. Did you come to visit me? I came so your dad can check my car. Can I help? I'm a really good helper. Matthew stepped in quickly. Lily, Miss Sanders is busy. Caroline, she corrected without thinking. And I'm not busy at all. Really? Lily's eyes sparkled. Matthew looked trapped between his pride and his daughter. Caroline almost felt sorry for him. Almost. I have to go get parts to check your car, he said finally. It'll take an hour. Perfect. Lily and I can get to know each other. Matthew's expression was pure agony, but he nodded and disappeared toward the street. Lily took Caroline's hand with absolute confidence. Come, I'll show you my drawings. She led her to a small office. In the back of the garage, an old desk, worn couch, drawings taped all over the walls. This is my daddy, she pointed to a stick figure, and this is me, and this was my mummy, but she's in heaven now. Caroline's chest tightened. I'm so sorry. Lily, it's okay. Daddy says she watches me from up there. She pointed to another drawing. See? The stars are her eyes. Good God, this girl was going to break her heart. It's beautiful. Want to draw with me? I'm not very good at drawing. I'll teach you. For the next hour, Caroline Sanders, CEO of Sanders Group, sat on the dusty garage floor and drew lopsided flowers, while a 4-year-old patiently explained how to make better petals, and she couldn't remember the last time she'd been so happy. Matthew returned 90 minutes later and found his daughter asleep on the couch, curled against Caroline, who was reading her a book in a low voice. He stopped in the doorway, unable to move. Ellen used to do that, read to Lily until she fell asleep. Caroline looked up. Their eyes met. She put a finger to her lips, carefully slid off the couch, and left the office without waking Lily. She fell asleep 10 minutes ago, she whispered. Didn't want to move her. Thanks for Matthew didn't know how to finish. For staying with her. It was a pleasure. She's wonderful. She is. They stood in the narrow hallway, too close. The air suddenly too thick. I checked your car. Matthew cleared his throat. It's absolutely fine. What a relief. But I did an oil change anyway and checked the brakes. They're good, but they'll wear out soon. How much do I owe? $15 for the time and oil. Caroline handed him $20 in cash. Keep the change. I don't need a tip. Then consider it advance payment for when I need brakes. Matthew took the money, their fingers brushing for a second. Pure electricity. Both pulled back like burned. I should go. Caroline fumbled for her car keys, hands shaky. Yeah, probably. But neither moved. Miss Sanders. Caroline. Caroline. Her name in Matthew's voice sounded different, intimate. Why did you really do this? She could have lied. Should have lied. Because when I saw you two in the bakery, it was the first time in months I felt something besides emptiness. The confession hung between them. I don't know what to do with that, Matthew said finally. Neither do I. They looked at each other for a long moment. Then Caroline forced herself to walk to her car. Caroline, he stopped her. My car might need a tire rotation soon. She turned. Matthew had hands in pockets, trying to look casual and failing. How soon? A week, maybe 2. A slow smile spread across her face. Then I guess I'll have to come back. Guess so. She drove home with her heart beating too fast and a growing certainty that she'd just changed her entire life and didn't mind one bit. December 31, New Year's Eve. Caroline had turned down 5 party invites. She was in her apartment alone when her phone buzzed. Any plans tonight? Lily and I are watching fireworks from the garage roof. Nothing fancy, Matthew replied before she could think better. On my way. An hour later, she was on the roof of Rojas Auto Repair, sitting on plastic chairs, sharing cold pizza with a mechanic and his daughter. The lights of New York stretched before them like an ocean of stars. Lily fell asleep in Matthew's lap at 11. Caroline and he sat in silence, waiting for midnight. When the first fireworks exploded, she felt his hand brush hers on the armrest. This time, neither pulled away. And Caroline knew she was lost completely, irrevocably lost. Chapter 4. Crossing Worlds. January brought warmth and a new routine Caroline didn't know she needed. Monday, she showed up at the garage with lunch sandwiches. You didn't have to do this. Matthew took the bag anyway. I know. I wanted to. They ate sitting on a car hood, talking about nothing and everything. He told her about the client who insisted his car was haunted. She told him about the board meeting where her brother nearly spilled coffee on the lead investor. Lily interrupted every 5 minutes with impossible questions. Why is the sky blue? Can dogs see colors? When are you coming back, Caro? Because now it was just Caro. The miss had vanished somewhere between drawings and sandwiches. Wednesday, Caroline returned with her car. I think it needs something, she said vaguely. Matthew smiled sideways. Anything specific? You're the mechanic, surprise me. He taught her to check the oil, his hands guiding hers, showing where to dip the stick. Like this, see, the level's fine. Caroline wasn't seeing anything except the way his arms surrounded her, the heat of his chest against her back, the smell of soap and engine. Caroline? What? I asked if you got that. Yes, totally. Oil, dipstick. Got it. Matthew chuckled softly. You didn't hear a word I said. In my defense, it's hard to focus when you're this close. The words slipped out before she could stop them. Matthew went still, then slowly stepped back. I should. Go check your tires. He disappeared under the car so fast Caroline wondered if she'd imagined it all. Friday, she arrived with treats from the same bakery where they'd met. Trying to ruin my food budget? Matthew asked. But he was already opening the box. Trying to say thanks for the mechanic lessons you're clearly not learning. I'm a terrible student, the worst. Their gazes held. Something sparked in the air between them. Lily broke the moment, grabbing a treat. This is the one I picked that day, the chocolate eclair. I remembered, Caroline said softly. Matthew looked at her like she'd just revealed something important. Maybe she had. Saturday afternoon, Caroline showed up at the garage with an invitation printed on fancy paper. I need you to come to an event with me. Matthew looked up from his work, skeptical. What kind of event? Opening of a social housing project. It's important to me. She paused. And I don't want to go alone. I don't have clothes for that stuff. It's not a gala, it's outdoors. Just come, please. The vulnerability in her voice stopped him. Can I bring Lily? Of course. Sunday, Matthew stood in front of his closet, staring at his one dress shirt. Lucy appeared in the doorway. Gonna tell me what's going on with the billionaire? Nothing's going on, Matthew. I've seen you smile more in the last 2 weeks than in the last 2 years. He buttoned the shirt without answering. Be careful. Lucy's voice softened. Lily's already getting attached. What happens when Caroline gets bored playing charity? This isn't charity. Then what is it? Matthew had no answer. The project was in Queens. New buildings, clean, designed with green spaces and community areas. Caroline greeted them in simple jeans and a blouse, no heels, no heavy makeup, more real than ever. You made it. Lily ran to her immediately. Caroline scooped her up without thinking. Caro, did you build all these houses? My company helped, but lots of people worked together. Matthew watched as Caroline talked to the families getting the homes. She knew their names, asked about their kids, really listened to their stories. This was different from the bakery woman, different from the CEO in internet photos. This was Caroline without armor. It's amazing what you've done here, he told her when they stepped away for a moment. She shrugged, uncomfortable with praise. It's the only thing I do that really matters. The rest is just numbers and meetings. Why do it then? Because my family built Sanders Group, and quitting feels like betraying them, even if it's betraying myself. Caroline looked at him, surprised, then smiled sadly. Especially then. During the event, Matthew noticed the stares, the whispers, the way people appraised his borrowed clothes, his scuffed shoes. A man in an expensive suit approached. Caroline Sanders. Didn't know you'd bring personal guests. The disdain in his voice was barely veiled. Richard, this is Matthew Flores and his daughter Lily. Matthew, this is Richard Fuentes from the board. Pleasure. Matthew extended his hand. Richard shook it briefly, like poverty was contagious. When he left, Caroline touched Matthew's arm. Sorry, he's a jerk. I'm used to it. You shouldn't be. The tenderness in her voice pierced his chest. That night, after dropping off a quiet Matthew and sleeping Lily, Caroline stayed up late in her office. He showed up with 2 beers at 10. Lily's asleep upstairs, he said, offering one. Thought you might need this after dealing with your people all day. They're not my people. She took the beer. That's the problem. They sat on the worn couch. The silence was comfortable. Can I ask you something personal? Matthew broke it. Go ahead. Why are you alone? I mean, you're beautiful, successful, clearly a good person. Where are all the suitors? Caroline laughed without humor. They left when they found out I come with complications. What kind? She twirled the bottle in her hands. 2 years ago, I was diagnosed with polycystic ovary syndrome. It doesn't mean I can't have kids, but it's hard, very hard. Matthew waited silently. My last boyfriend, Ralph, left before I told him. But the others, she swallowed. Turns out men who want to marry a Sanders also want guaranteed heirs. They're damn idiots. The ferocity in his voice made her look up. You mean that? Completely. He leaned forward. Caroline, you're worth 1,000 times more than any baby you may or may not have. And anyone who doesn't see that is a coward who didn't deserve you. Something broke in her chest. Tears came unbidden. No one's ever said that to me before. Matthew moved closer, wiping her tears with his thumb. Then you've clearly been around the wrong people. And you've been around the right ones, she whispered. Lily's lucky to have you. He laughed bitterly. I don't feel like a good dad most days. I feel like a constant failure. You're the best dad I've ever met. I can barely give her what she needs. You give her everything she needs. Love, security, a dad who puts her first. Caroline touched his cheek. That's worth more than any fancy cake. Matthew covered her hand with his. I'm scared one day it won't be enough that she'll grow up and realize all I couldn't give her. She'll grow up and realize she had someone who loved her more than anything. Their faces were inches apart. The air hummed with possibility. Caroline kissed me. He did soft at first, tentative, like she was something precious that might break, then deeper. Years of loneliness and pain melting between their lips. When they parted, both were shaking. This is a bad idea, Matthew said, forehead against hers. The worst. We're from completely different worlds. Completely, but I don't want to stop. Neither do I. They kissed again and again, until the outside world ceased to exist. The next morning, Lucy found Matthew making breakfast with a goofy smile. Oh no. What? Did you sleep with her? No. Matthew nearly spilled the coffee. We just kissed. Worse. Now you have feelings. Lucy, listen. She stood in front of him. She's wonderful, I see that. But you live on different planets. What happens when her family finds out? When the press discovers you? When Lily gets so attached that losing her destroys our girl? I've thought about all that and I don't have answers, he admitted. I just know when I'm with her, I feel whole for the first time since Ellen died. Lucy sighed. Just be careful, not just for you, for Lily. But it was too late for caution. Matthew was already in love and had no idea how this would end. Chapter 5. The Scandal. Sebastian burst into Caroline's office without knocking. We need to talk. She didn't even look up from her laptop. Good morning to you too. Is it true? He tossed a folder on her desk. You're dating a mechanic. Caroline froze. You had me investigated. The family had a right to know. The family or Mom made you. Doesn't matter. Sebastian leaned over the desk. Caroline, this guy's clearly taking advantage of you. You don't know him. I know enough. Single dad, minimum wage, meets you in a bakery, and suddenly you're spending all your time together. Fury climbed her spine. Get out of my office. Mom wants to see you tonight. Mandatory family dinner. Tell her I'm busy. It's not a request. The door slammed, rattling the windows. Caroline leaned back, heart racing too fast. Her phone buzzed a text from Matthew. Lily's asking if you can come for dinner. Nothing fancy, just burnt spaghetti. She smiled despite everything and typed, On my way. Dinner at the Sanders mansion was an ambush. Her mother presided over the table like a queen judging a criminal, Sebastian to her right, and to Caroline's absolute horror, Ralph to her left. Seriously? Caroline dropped her bag hard. You invited my ex to a family intervention. He's a family friend. Her mother cut a piece of steak with surgical precision. And he's concerned about you. We're all concerned, Ralph added with fake warmth. This guy's clearly manipulating you. Matthew's not manipulating anything. Matthew, her mother nearly spat the name, already on cute nicknames. It's his name, Mom. Caroline, Sebastian used his business voice. Be reasonable. This guy showed up in your life right when you were vulnerable. You paid for something expensive for him, and now He tried to pay me back, she interrupted. He came to this office with every dollar he had to repay me. He didn't ask for anything. Then he's smarter than we thought, her mother said, playing the proud card to earn your trust. Caroline stood so fast her chair toppled. I'm not staying here to listen to this. Sit down. Her mother's command cut the air. We're not done. I am. If you continue this, there will be consequences. You're threatening me. I'm protecting you from yourself if necessary. Caroline laughed without humor. You know what? Maybe you're right. Maybe Matthew is using me. She grabbed her bag. But at least when I'm with him, I feel alive, not like a pawn in your business games. She stormed out, slamming the door so hard it shook the crystal chandeliers. 3 days later, Caroline made the worst decision of her life. I want you to come to an event with me, she told Matthew while he changed her car's oil for the 5th time that month. Another housing project? A Sanders Group charity gala. Matthew slid out from under the car slowly. Caroline, I know what you're going to say, but my family's already on to us. The press will find out eventually. She knelt beside him. I want to do this right, introduce you publicly, show them I'm not ashamed of you. I don't belong in that world. Then let's change the world. He looked at her a long time. You sure? She wasn't, but nodded anyway, completely. Matthew looked ridiculous in the borrowed suit Lucy got from a cousin. The tie choked him, shoes pinched. Caroline, meanwhile, was stunning in a navy dress that probably cost more than his car. You look beautiful, he said, when she picked him up. You look uncomfortable, because I am. She took his hand. If you want to leave at any point, we go. Okay? Okay. The gala was exactly the nightmare Matthew had imagined. Massive ballroom, crystal chandeliers, tables decked with flowers costing more than his rent and stairs. So many stairs. That's him, someone whispered. The mechanic. Seriously? Thought he was a waiter. Poor Caroline, clearly going through something. He clenched his jaw and kept walking. Caroline introduced him to dozens. Everyone smiled politely, while their eyes judged him and found him lacking. Matthew survived dinner, survived speeches, even survived dancing, though he stepped on Caroline 3 times. What he didn't survive was Ralph. Caroline appeared with 2 champagne flutes. "We need to talk about the merger." "Not now, Ralph. It's important." He handed her one without offering Matthew anything. "The board's pushing for an answer." I said, "Not now." Ralph finally looked at Matthew like he'd just noticed him. "Oh, sorry, didn't know you brought the help." Matthew's blood boiled. "I'm her date, not her help." "Date." Ralph laughed. "That's what they're calling it now?" Caroline's voice was dangerous. "Leave. Just being honest." He turned to Matthew. "How long do you think this lasts? Really think someone like you can keep someone like her interested? Someone like, at least I treat her with respect. I treat her with what she deserves. A proper life. Not dinners in garages and second-hand clothes." Matthew stepped forward. Ralph didn't back down. "You know what? You're right. I can't give her fancy champagne or trips to Europe." His voice rose. "But I can give her honesty, loyalty, someone who loves her for her, not her last name." "Matthew." Caroline grabbed his arm. "Let's go." But it was too late. Camera flashes exploded. The society reporters covering the event had their story. The next day, the internet blew up. Not major papers, worse. Gossip blogs, Instagram accounts for New York high society, Twitter with cruel hashtags like #Sanders Mechanic, #TrueLove or Gold Digger, photos everywhere. Matthew confronting Ralph, Caroline grabbing his arm, the obvious difference between his cheap suit and the designer tuxes around him. Comments were poison. Poor Caroline, clearly low self-esteem. He's just after her money. Obvious. Bet $10 they're engaged in 3 months, divorced in 6. Matthew shut off his phone, but couldn't shut off the stares on the street. Garage clients making comments, neighbors whispering. Mr. Stevens, the garage owner, called him into the office. "I don't care about gossip," he said firmly. "You're my best mechanic. But if this affects business, I get it. Give me 2 weeks. If it calms down, great. If not, I'll have to consider." Matthew nodded, shame burning his guts. The worst came when he picked Lily up from preschool. She walked to him head down, tears on her cheeks. "What happened, princess?" "Tommy said you're bad, that you're stealing money from Caro." The world stopped. "What?" His mum said poor guys always want money from rich ladies. Sobs shook her small body. "But you're not bad, right, Daddy?" Matthew hugged her, feeling something shatter inside. "No, princess, I'm not bad. But maybe he was selfish. Maybe Lucy was right. Maybe Lily deserved better than a dad who exposed her to this cruelty." That night, Matthew went to Sanders' group offices. Caroline came running out seeing him, relief on her face. "Thank God I've been trying to call you." "Matthew, I'm so sorry. I didn't think we have to end this." She stopped cold. "What? I can't do this. I can't expose Lily to this." "Matthew, it'll die down. It's just stupid gossip," Lily cried today. His voice cracked. "Because other kids told her dad's a thief. Because I'm with you. Then we'll teach them they're wrong." "How?" He laughed bitterly. "By showing up at more galas? Proving I'm good enough for your world?" "I'll never be enough, Caroline." "Don't say that. It's the truth." He stepped away from her. "Your family was right. I live in a 2-bedroom apartment. I can barely give my daughter what she needs. I have nothing to offer you. You have you. That's all I want. It's not enough. Not when it means Lily suffers." Tears streamed down Caroline's cheeks. "So what? You just give up? Give us up? I'm setting you free to go back to your life. You are my life now." "No." The word hurt coming out. "I'm a mistake, a distraction. And it ends now." He turned before she could see his own tears. "Matthew, please." But he was already walking to the elevator, away from the only woman he'd loved since Ellen, toward the safety of his small, safe world where his daughter wouldn't cry, where his heart wouldn't break more, where everything would be simple again. Except nothing would be simple ever again, because Matthew Flores had just let go of the best thing that happened to him, and they both knew it. Chapter 6. Worlds Apart. 14 days. 336 hours. 20,160 minutes since Matthew walked away from Caroline. Not that he was counting. "Daddy, when's Mummy Caro coming?" Matthew closed his eyes. It was the 5th time Lily asked that morning. I told you, Princess, she's not coming anymore. Why? Because I'm a coward. Because I have too much pride and too little courage. Because she has her life and we have ours. But I miss her. I know, baby. Me too. The words slipped out before he could stop them. Lily looked at him with those eyes that saw too much for a 4-year-old. Then why can't we see her? He had no answer. Work was his escape. Matthew spent 12 hours under cars, hands busy, mind numb. Mr. Stevens gave him the green light. The gossip had calmed. Clients stopped commenting. Everything back to normal. Except Matthew glanced at the door every time a car pulled up, hoping for a silver BMW. It never came. You look like crap. Lucy showed up at the garage Thursday night with food he hadn't asked for. Thanks. You too. Did you eat today? Not hungry. Matthew, I don't want to talk about it. Fine. Then just listen. She set the food in front of him. Lily drew this at my place yesterday. She showed a drawing. 3 stick figures, one big, one small. One with long hair, clearly Caroline. Daniela brought coffee she didn't drink, reminded her of appointments she forgot, looked at her with concern she pretended not to notice. Miss Sanders, the board's waiting. The meeting Thursday, the merger. Caroline entered the conference room like walking to the gallows. Sebastian presided, her mother at the other end. Board members filled the middle seats and Ralph, of course Ralph was there. Let's begin. Sebastian opened a folder. The merger with Dominguez Construction represents 40% growth in 2 years. Requires significant investment, added a board member. And a strategic alliance. Her mother looked straight at Caroline. Familial. There it was, the real reason for the meeting. No, Caroline said clearly. You haven't even heard the proposal. I don't need to. I already know what you'll say. Ralph leaned forward with that smile she used to find charming and now just made her nauseous. Caroline, I know things have been complicated, but we're adults. We can make this work. Make what work exactly? A professional partnership at first, but eventually a marriage of convenience. She finished for him. That's what you're proposing. It's pragmatic. It's insane. It's the future of Sanders Group. Her mother slammed the table. Stop acting like a spoiled child and think about the legacy. Something in Caroline snapped, or maybe mended. You know what? You're right. I've been acting like a child. Her mother nodded, satisfied. Finally seeing reason. Letting you dictate my life. Letting your expectations define me. Choosing approval over happiness. Caroline stood. But I'm done. Sit down. No, Caroline said. The word tasted like freedom. I'm not sitting. I'm not marrying Ralph. I'm not merging with Dominguez Construction. And I'm not living a life designed by you anymore. The room's silence was absolute. If you do this, her mother spoke slowly, there will be consequences. Let there be. Caroline. Sebastian tried a softer approach. Be reasonable. What are you going to do? Chase the mechanic who dumped you? The blow landed direct, but Caroline didn't flinch. I'm not chasing anyone. I'm fighting for myself for the first time. She left the conference room, kept walking past her office, past Daniela calling her, past the executive elevator. Took the stairs 15 floors down, each step lifting weight from her shoulders. She hit the street and breathed cold, February air free, terrified, completely alone, and ready to change everything. Lucy Flores didn't have an appointment. She didn't care. She pushed past Caroline's assistant with determination. Miss, you can't go in without... Relax. I just need 5 minutes. Caroline looked up from her desk, surprised. Lucy, we need to talk. She shut the door. About my idiot brother. He's an idiot. Lucy sat uninvited. But he's miserable without you. Caroline's chest tightened. He ended it with me. Because he was scared. Because, Lily cried, because pride's all he has left of his dignity. Lucy leaned forward. But mostly because he thinks you deserve better. That's stupid. Yes. Frustrating? Completely. True? Also. Sorry, you two are from different worlds, Miss Sanders. That's no secret. Lucy's eyes were hard but honest. My brother wakes up every day wondering if he can pay rent. You probably spend more on lunch than he earns in a week. Money doesn't matter to me. But it does. You can't pretend it doesn't. Lucy sighed. The question isn't if you love him, I can see you do. The question is, what are you willing to sacrifice to be with him? Caroline opened her mouth, closed it. Your family clearly doesn't approve. Your world won't accept him, and my brother will never have money or status or anything your social circle thinks is valuable." Lucy stood. "So ask yourself, can you live with that? Really? Without resentment? Without regret?" "Yes." "Then prove it." Lucy walked to the door. "Because my niece cries for you every night, and my brother's walking around like the living dead, and I can't watch my family break anymore." The door closed. Caroline stared at the empty space, heart pounding wild. What was she willing to sacrifice? Everything. The answer came crystal clear. Everything. She grabbed her phone, called Daniela. "Schedule a meeting with HR and legal. I need to restructure my role." "Ma'am, I'm stepping down as CEO. I need to know what's required." Stunned silence. "Are you sure? Surer than I've been about anything." She hung before she could regret it. Looked out the window at New York, stretching under the February sun. Somewhere out there, Matthew was convinced she deserved better. Time to show him the only thing she deserved was him. That night, Caroline drove through Brooklyn. Didn't stop at the garage. Didn't call, just passed slowly by the building where she knew Matthew and Lily lived. Lights were on in the second floor. For a second, she saw a small shadow at the window. Lily. Her heart broke and mended at once. "I'm getting you back," she whispered to the windshield. "I swear." Drove home and started planning. Not a business merger, not a convenience marriage, but a whole new life. One where love was worth more than legacies, where happiness mattered more than appearances, where 3 broken people could become a whole family. She just had to be brave enough to fight for it. And after 34 years of doing what others expected, Caroline Sanders was finally ready to do what was right. Chapter 7. The Choice. The boardroom was packed like a courtroom, full board. Her mother in the center, Sebastian to her right, Ralph with papers neatly stacked, and Caroline arriving 15 minutes late because she no longer cared about their approval. "Finally gracing us with your presence." Her mother didn't look up. "Let's start." Caroline sat. "I have things to do." Ralph slid the papers to her. "Merger contracts. All ready for signature. Just needs your approval." She didn't even glance. "And after?" "After we celebrate the new era of Sanders Dominguez Group. I mean the part where I'm supposed to marry you." The silence thickened. Ralph cleared his throat. That would be the natural outcome. 2 families united, 2 empires combined, 2 people who don't love each other pretending for business. "Love is for the naive." Her mother cut in. "Marriage at our level is strategy." Caroline laughed. The sound was odd, even to her. "You know what's naive? Believing money can buy happiness, that legacies matter more than people, that an empty life in a mansion is better than a full one in a small apartment." "You're talking about the mechanic again." Sebastian sounded tired. "Caroline, he dumped you. How much more humiliation will you take?" "All that's necessary." She stood. "Because at least he left for the right reasons, to protect his daughter, not to merge with another company." "Sit down," her mother ordered. "No, Caroline Alexandra Sanders. No, louder this time. I'm not sitting. I'm not signing. I'm not marrying Ralph, and I'm not staying as CEO." Ralph's papers hit the floor. "What? You heard me. I resign." "Well, restructure." She looked at Sebastian. "You'll be CEO. I'll keep my board seat and shares, but someone else can handle daily ops." "You're insane." Her mother was pale. "You can't just I can. I have 52% of the shares. Dad left them to me, remember? Specifically so I could make my own choices. He'd never want you destroying his legacy." "I'm not destroying it, I'm saving it." Caroline walked to the door. "Because a legacy built on miserable people isn't worth preserving. If you walk out that door," her mother stood, "no turning back. I know. You'll be alone, no family, no support." Caroline smiled. Finally free. She crossed the threshold and didn't look back. Sebastian caught her at the elevator. "You serious?" "Completely." Caroline ran a hand through her hair. "I don't even know if he wants you back. Then I'll find out." The doors opened. "But at least I tried. When's the last time you risked something for what you really wanted?" She left him speechless. The sky opened as she reached her car. February rain, cold and sudden. Caroline drove to Brooklyn without an umbrella, without a plan, just a heart beating too fast. The garage was closing. Matthew locked the doors, back to her. She got out. Rain soaked her in seconds. "Matthew." He turned, eyes widened. Caroline, what are you? I don't want to save you. The words rushed out. I want you to save me from that life, from that loneliness, from pretending money matters when the only thing that matters is you. Caroline, I quit. Well, restructured. Sebastian's CEO now. I'm just on the board. She stepped closer. I'm finding an apartment near here, something modest. I'm using my money for things that matter, like investing in your garage as a real partner, not charity. Wait, I love you. The confession freed her. I love Lily. I love you both so much I gave up everything else. And I know you're scared. I am too. But I'm more scared of spending the rest of my life wondering what if I'd been brave enough. Matthew stared at her like she was a vision. I have nothing to offer you. His voice cracked. Just me and Lily and a life that'll never be galas or mansions. Good, she interrupted. Because I hate galas. Caroline, tell me you don't love me. She stepped again. Say it, and I'll go. But if there's even a part of you that wants me. She didn't finish, because Matthew closed the distance and kissed her in the rain, desperate, hungry, like a man dying of thirst finding water. She clung to him, years of loneliness and pain melting between their lips. When they parted, both shook. I love you. Matthew rested his forehead on hers. God, I love you so much it hurts, but I'm so scared of ruining you. I was already ruined. You're fixing me, your family. They're not my problem anymore. You are my family now. You and Lily if you'll have us. If I'll have you? He laughed, half sob. Caroline, I'd give anything to have you, but you have to understand. I understand we'll never be rich. I understand people will judge. I understand it'll be hard. She cupped his face. But I also understand that with you, I'm happier than I've ever been, and that's worth more than any mansion. Matthew kissed her again, softer this time like a promise. You need to know some things, he said when they parted. I'm not easy. I'm stubborn, proud, sometimes impossible. I know. And Lily, she'll get attached. If you do this, you have to be sure, because if you hurt her, I won't hurt her. We'll love you every day, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. What about your money? It's my money. I use it how I want. She shrugged. But if it makes you feel better, we can do a prenup for the relationship. My money stays mine. You keep your independence. We're equal partners in everything else. You're incredible. I'm soaked and desperate. There's a difference. He laughed and hugged her tighter. We gotta go get Lily. She's with Lucy. Your sister came to see me today. Seriously? Told me to prove I meant it. And you quit being CEO. Restructured and I'd do it again. She kissed him softly, 1,000 times. They went to Lucy's together, Caroline still drenched, Matthew holding her hand like she might vanish. Lucy opened the door, saw their faces, and smiled. About time, idiots. Where's Lily? Living room watching movies. She yelled inside. Lily, visitor. Little footsteps ran. Lily appeared at the door. Her eyes widened. Mummy, Caro. Caroline knelt, eyes filling with tears. Hi, princess. Lily ran forward. The impact nearly knocked her over, but Caroline held steady, hugging the girl tight. I missed you. Lily sobbed into her neck. I thought you weren't coming back. I'm so sorry, baby, but I'm here now, and I'm not going anywhere. Promise? Promise? Lily lifted her head, looking between Caroline and Matthew. Does this mean we can be a real family? Matthew knelt beside them, wrapping both in his arms. Yes, princess, a real family. Lily squealed with joy and hugged tighter. Caroline looked at Matthew over Lily's head. He smiled. That smile he saved for what he loved, and she knew she'd made the right choice. All the money in the world wasn't worth this moment. This imperfect, complicated, beautiful family. This love she'd chosen over everything else. Lucy wiped her eyes from the door. Okay, family. Come inside before the neighbors think someone died. They entered together, the three of them. And for the first time in years, Caroline Sanders felt whole, not because she had everything, but because she finally had what mattered. Love, family, home, and the courage to choose them over all else. Epilogue. A new family. 10 months later, Caroline wiped flour from her cheek and assessed the disaster in her kitchen. The cake was lopsided, chocolate frosting dripping off one side, candles spaced unevenly, and more batter on the floor than in the original pan. It was perfect. Daddy says it looks like an earthquake hit the kitchen. Caroline turned. Lily stood in the doorway, grinning with a smile, missing 2 front teeth. "Daddy can hush and help next time." "Heard that," Matthew yelled from the backyard. Lily ran to Caroline and hugged her legs. "It's the best cake in the world, Mom." Mom, 9 months, and it still squeezed her chest every time Lily said it. "Sure, it's pretty ugly. The best cakes are ugly. Means they're made with love." Caroline lifted her, ignoring chocolate stains on her shirt. "When did you get so wise?" "I've always been wise. I'm 5 now, so it's more obvious." Caroline's laughter filled the kitchen of their home in Queens. Not a mansion, not a cramped apartment, a 3-bedroom house with a small yard and friendly neighbors who didn't ask about last names or bank accounts. Home. Matthew entered, smudged with charcoal from the grill. Guests are arriving. Lucy brought enough food to feed an army. Mr. Stevens is arguing with the Campos kid over music control. Sounds like a perfect party. He kissed her quick and sweet. "Love you, even with flour in your hair. Especially with flour in your hair." Lily made gagging sounds. "You have to kiss all the time?" "Yes," they said in unison. The doorbell rang. Lily squirmed down. "I'll get it." She ran off, leaving them alone in the kitchen. Matthew wrapped Caroline's waist. "Happy?" "More than I thought possible. No regrets?" "Not one." It was true. The last 10 months had been chaotic. Corporate restructuring took 3 months of legal meetings. Her mother still wasn't speaking. Sebastian sent occasional texts, mostly business, slowly rebuilding. But Flores Auto Repair opened in July, Matthew as owner, Caroline as silent partner and investor. Business thrived on honesty and quality work. They lived mostly on Matthew's salary. Caroline's money went to investments, Lily's college savings, and community projects that truly mattered to her, like adding a playground to the Queens housing development for a creative touch. It was more work, more complicated, more real, and absolutely perfect. The backyard filled quickly. Lucy with her famous pies, Mr. Stevens and wife with balloons, neighbors from both old and new worlds mixing some of Caroline's colleagues who'd chosen friendship over status. And in a corner, surprisingly, Sebastian with his wife and 2 kids. Caroline approached cautiously. "Didn't know you'd come. I'm your brother." He shrugged. "I may be slow, but not forever dumb." "Mom, give her time. You know how she is. Yeah, maybe someday, maybe never. Either way, it'd be fine." Lily ran among guests, her pink dress flying, totally in her element. "Time for cake," she yelled eventually. Everyone gathered around the yard table. Caroline and Matthew brought the lopsided cake, covered in candles threatening to ignite the melting chocolate. 1, 2, 3, Matthew started. "Happy birthday, Lily." She blew them out with total drama, eyes squeezed in serious concentration. "What do you wish for, Princess?" Matthew asked. "Can't say or it won't come true." Wise choice. They cut the cake. It was dry on some sides, raw on others, and absolutely delicious because they'd made it together. Lily insisted Caroline and Matthew eat the first piece. "Because you made it for me, so I share with you." Caroline hugged her tight. "Love you, my beautiful girl." "Love you too, Mum." Lily pulled back to look seriously. "Thanks for staying." Caroline's throat closed. "Thanks for letting me stay." As afternoon turned to evening, adults chatted, kids played, yard lights creating a warm glow. Caroline found herself sitting with Matthew on the grass, watching Lily play with Sebastian's kids. "What are you thinking?" he asked. "That a year ago, I was in an empty mansion alone on Christmas, convinced that was my life. And now, I'm in a yard full of people, wearing chocolate-stained clothes, and I've never been happier." Matthew kissed her temple. "Know what's crazy? What? That $35 cake changed my life completely." Caroline laughed. "Technically $40 with the eclairs, total bargain. Got the woman I love, a mum for Lily, a partner who saved my business. You saved my life. Fair trade." They kissed as the sun set over New York, sounds of Lily's birthday party filling the air. Lucy passed and tossed a napkin. "Get a room, lovebirds. It's our house," Matthew yelled. "Then act like adults." But she was smiling. When guests finally left, Lily crashed on the couch, exhausted and happy, surrounded by gifts. Caroline and Matthew carried her to bed together, tucked her in, kissed her forehead. "Sweet dreams, Princess," Matthew whispered. "The sweetest," Caroline added. They closed the door softly and walked to their room. Caroline stood at the mirror, wiping off her minimal makeup. Matthew appeared behind, wrapping his arms around her. "Regret anything? You asked that before. Worth asking twice." She turned in his arms. "Matthew Flores, I gave up a mansion for a 3-bedroom house. Gave up being CEO for a board seat. Gave up galas for backyard birthdays." She kissed him softly, "And I'd do it again 1,000 times. Love you. Love you too. You, Lily, this chaotic, perfect life. All of it." That night, lying in the dark, Matthew spoke softly. "Know what I told Lily to wish for when she blew out the candles? Thought you can't say or it won't come true. I cheated." He smiled in the dark. "Told her to wish our family stays like this forever." Caroline cuddled closer. That wish already came true. And he was right, because a year after a bakery in December where a broken dad whispered, "We don't have the money, princess," and a lonely woman decided to do something that mattered. 3 lost people found each other not in wealth or status or social approval, but in love, in choice, in courage. In a family built not from blood or money, but from daily decisions to stay, to love, to choose each other again and again. And that was worth more than any fortune, any mansion, any legacy. Because in the end, the only thing that really mattered was this: a mechanic who learned accepting love wasn't weakness, an heiress who learned true wealth is priceless, and a girl who gained a whole family. All for $40, and the courage to believe love could cross any barrier, even those built by money, pride, and fear. What did you think of Caroline, Matthew, and Lily's story? Leave your comments below. On a scale of 0 to 10, how would you rate this story? Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell so you don't miss any of our stories.